Joshua,
All right.
good
Yes,
morning,
sir.
people. If you land this, so can I join the
Yeah, man.
conversation?
Sure. Listen, man, when the professor come out for back out, man.
It's all right. Pray for me when I go to church there. Yeah?
All right. I will, sir. I will.
You see,
God bless you, no, man.
I do believe that these are the conversations we need to have. There are a lot of people, a lot of Jamaicans who really don't understand, Now look on it. Mr. Lee Ford lives in the United States. Do you own a home back in Jamaica, sir?
I don't really own a home, to be honest with you, but I have a little business down there, a shop, and I have a two-story building down there. There's a shop and a bar we used to run, but it's closed now because I don't really find anybody to really, gas to.
Is it your building?
It's my building.
Oh, okay.
I built it from scratch.
Did you build that building
don't get me
while
wrong,
you
I
were
built that
here?
building before I leave Jamaica too, so it don't have nothing to do with the US.
All right. So you might be the exception with the situation that I'm going to highlight now. Right? Now, for another person, a few people, I know, who since they have moved abroad, they were able to maintain very small jobs, not no big Wall Street jobs in the United States, Canada, and England. And they were able to earn, but because of the exchange rate, they were able to build mansions or buy properties uptown that they can live comfortably.
Yeah.
Now, we have to understand, people, that it is dishonest politics. I may have to categorize it as that because politics is important to every society because politics develops policy. It is the back and forth of discussions with ideas that policies come from. So politics is important. But dishonest politics is what riles us up sometimes to hold one position against another. Sometimes, as the Prime Minister referred to Mark Golding a few weeks ago, as a lot of time him chat nonsense. It's not that Mr. Golding is a fool, but because he knows that a lot of people don't understand many things, them tell lie. Now, let me help you to understand something more important. Joshua went back to the control of the dollar, which every society does. Now, if you live in a society that your currency is not the universal trading currency, you're going to put some controls in place. There's only one currency in the entire world that is the universal trading currency, and it is the US dollar. And that was established back in the 1930s, late 30s, on a decision not by America alone, but by their biggest partners. England, Canada, France, Germany, and all of them decided that they will agree to the establishment of this super currency and peg it against oil. That's where it started. So it is called the petrodollar. And that is the reason why no matter which direction any country in the world goes, the US dollar always comes out on top. Because it was pegged and called the petrodollar. Later on, them shore it up with gold. Because currencies in these first world countries are backed by mostly gold. A gold backed the currency to give it its strength. Because money is just a piece of paper, it is referred to as legal tender. And the value of your currency, therefore, is the goods and services that you provide. For example, now we have money and we make money. But you have some man have NSC or wash clocks with the money, and then when the fortunes change, him broke and him now nothing. Where somebody like me now, when money come in my hand, me I look for buy property and assets because that's where true value is. We not teach repeating them something there, but these are the things I focus on. Now, listen, people. When you have a Jamaica, it's a small island, a dot on the map we refer to ourselves sometimes as. What the hell are we ever going to produce to compete in a large scale way to have any influence on the market? What are we going to produce? But guess what? We are never going to be able to compete at that level, as Joshua mentioned. One farm in the United States is 2 parishes together, and that are just one farm producing agriculture. And even though America has that capacity, them still looking at bad mind because they fly over Jamaica in the 60s and poison with coconut them because they want to make soybean oil and call it soy. Anyway, now, what Siaga did in his infinite wisdom, a man thinking about the future, understanding the past, and realizing the present time that he was living in. What did he do? He sought to bring industries to Jamaica. And that is the reason why from early on he considered that the only oil refinery that was owned by Moses Shell or one of them in Jamaica, it better the government own it, because as a small country, we have to own assets like those so we can control the pricing of the world's most precious commodity so that we can regulate a system that gives some reprieve to manufacturers. And he brought industries to Jamaica. Industries that were considered from the 1960s, but because of Michael Manley's carelessness, many of those investors who really was considering hunkering down, them run back out of Jamaica. And he brought industries to Jamaica throughout the 1980s. We did have every factory at Jamaica. All tire factory did at Jamaica. Fruit of the looms, Ian's, and we used to make them. We used to make them at Jamaica. When you go to Hanover now, the 2 Jackie factory in Western Jamaica locked down them and use them as storehouse for some sort of foolishness. And me say one in Hanover now, they must lease it for some other thing. Those factories used to make the world's biggest brand. Edward Siaga brought them to Jamaica. Now what that does, and what that did in those days, and what that kind of industry does in real terms. When you are manufacturing at that scale, those quality items, you're able to trade them in foreign currency. Because you're able to trade them in foreign currency now, you create a balance in your economy. And in so doing, you're able to control the rate at which your currency devalues.
All right, sir.
Currency devaluation is a market-led situation. It is demand and supply. They have designed the world this way. And that's why free market is important. But nationally and locally in every country, you have to take steps to ensure that you can compete. So while your currency won't be able to compete at the highest level and win, you can put systems in place so that when your currency competes, it competes in a balanced and stable way. For example, in the last 10 years, the Jamaican currency have only devalued about 2%.
All right. So that's where we are go. We don't know that. For sure, you say no that Jamaica has lacked this amount of manufacturing companies. We have a government, we have a prime minister and a government that has crafted financial mechanisms in place without the imposition of taxes to overburden the people of this country, right? And with that mechanism in place, would have seen the Jamaican dollar maintain a stability which is giving the poor people of this country an effective spending power.
No, I mean, Professor Strength, in a more technical way,
yes,
what the easing of taxation does, yes, the end game and the end result is that the citizenry saves money. But what it really does, if you notice the targets that the government has been targeting over the years of reducing tax, they reduce a lot of tax for the business community. Because when you free up capital, then businesses invest that capital. When you free up the different stringent fees and taxation measures that are introduced, then companies will come in and that money, instead of paying it out in a fees, they use that money to tool and retool. Now, what that does, it creates industries. So when you realize is the free zone has been rebuilt, and before it even done, companies move into the free zone. The new economic zone out of Ferry is being built out because there are special waivers where taxation and so forth is concerned. So what that will do, like for example, a lot of Jamaicans say the Shackman truck a drive around in Jamaica, but then don't realize that the truck is assembled in Jamaica out of the new economic zone out of Ferry. The long building they want to see way back down at the back of the entire property when you pass out of Ferry. Yes. A tank will own that building, and a down there so the Shackman truck is assembled. So everything come at Jamaica in a parts break up. We used to assemble TV, all this thing back in idea in Jamaica. So what the government is doing and has been doing for the past 10 years is removing the impediments to make businesses come in. Now, for example, for shipping, one truck supposed to can hold in a one container. 2 trucks supposed to can hold in a one container. Or maybe 3 truck in a 3 container. When that ship now, for ship one container is not the elements in the container are go cause the majority of the money. So for ship a container, maybe $8,000 or so in a US. So when that truck reach a Jamaica now, it is assembled and the truck about 16-20 million. So what that does is the assembly adds more value to the product. But also, it means if it is done locally, you have to go train people in truck assembly. So you have a new economy develop right there. So what you have over time is your ability to compete, because now that you are assemble Shackman, or we can call it make Shackman in a Jamaica, you can now create a market in the region. And those Shackman trucks can be sold anywhere in the region for US dollars. And once you have US dollars coming in, then you're able to control the rate at which your own local currency, which is not globally competitive, you're able to control the rate at which it devalues. You understand? Now, here's another thing. The Bank of Jamaica, somebody might open and look like Jesus are raised somewhere there. Now, the Bank of Jamaica now has a net international reserve of almost $8 billion. Can we think it reach over 7 billion now? US. Now, what that does, once you have foreign exchange in reserve, especially the universal trading currency, once you have that in reserves, what that does, it shores up your currency, because there will be no need for you to be jumping to the international financial market to buy US dollars like what the PNP used to do in the 90s. And because you don't have that great demand and that great appetite that is open for the foreign currency, the US dollars, then you now have stability in your local market. So enough US dollar there Jamaica now for investors, if them want US dollar for buy raw material, them can access it locally. We don't need figure up on the market where it's competitive. Figure fight and wrestle and bid at an auction, a foreign exchange auction for US dollar. So what that does, it adds some stability again to the dollar. So when you look right across the board, my friends, it is a combination of things, of factors, of different elements coming together that allows the dollar to maintain its stability. Now, in 2007, well, remember Lania, so my brother. In 2007, when Bruce came in, the dollar was 76 something. In 2016, when the JLP handed over, I think the dollar was 84. And then just try and envision what happened between that period. By 2008, America caused a global recession. And so your dollar is always going to lose value in a situation like that. But just imagine, in that 4-year period, there was only a devaluation of maybe about 3% or so. 4%, somewhere there so. Now, again, that period that PNP came in, 2011 to 2016, the dollar shot up to 120 something. The value, the US dollar shot up to 120 something. 120 something.
No,
And then
130.
from there,
It was 134.
Right.
Somewhere there.
130 something. Right.
I remember.
And then
I
from
remember
there,
during that time I used to get 13,000 and change.
okay.
For
And then
a-
from there, we are now at 150 something. 2%. It has lost value. So there's no argument that can come politically, against the JLP,
155.
as it relates to the dollar.
All right.
There's no
Like when
argument
the dollar
that they
slide
can
too,
claim.
when this dollar slide, and
Alright.
everybody at Jamaica, people in the diaspora. So when that money come at Jamaica, boys, them happy about it, but they don't understand the real things done to the country.
There
So,
is
all
there
right.
is a
Thank
good-
you, Mr. Leaford. And Nat, I just want to drop something here quickly. Mr. Leaford, I'm glad you introduced that because I believe that protecting will explain the deleterious effect. When you rent buildings in US dollar, the pressure it put on the local currency and how inflation spiral out. But I'll leave protecting to do that. I just wanted to insert this. Last night I was doing a quick research. And for years, we in Jamaica beat up on the Jamaican government. And I'm not saying it is right or wrong. I'm just telling you, showing you parallels. That whereas the Chinese, I was having a conversation actually with an American, and something was said to me and I decided, okay, let me use it as an opportunity to research. And I found out that just like how the Chinese come in Jamaica and get a 5-year tax break and concessions, right? And then afterwards, they have to pay a tax. In the US, it's 7 years they get. The exact thing happened. So in other words, concession is made to bring in investors. And when I did my research, it has a special name in their law. And it's not just the US, Canada also has it. And several countries in the world have that kind of system to bring in FDI, foreign direct investment, to their economies. So I just wanted to insert that protecting. Continue. And that's why I came back up. I'm going to jump out again.
Very valid insertion, my brother. Very valid insertion. And as I said before when I started, it is very important that we have conversations like these. And I am happy that these are the conversations we're having. Because people has to understand. You see, yes, we love with Jamaica, we're precious and we're special. Me understand that. I believe in that 100%. I mean, know me precious and special too. But we also have to take into consideration that we function in a global space. The world is a global community. And as such, everything that goes on is going to affect us. Which means that if we understand that logic, then there are things that are going to go array and awry sometimes. Now, here's the position of the government. If we're operating as a free market economy, it means, therefore, you cannot put any restrictive policy in place. Because the truth is, you might put a restrictive policy in place to control the dollar, but it end up mash up the rest of the economy, which is the productive section of the economy. And that's the reason why you realize that gradually a lot of countries move away as they strengthen their reserve and their economic position. They take time and move away from restrictive policies. China can afford. I think China is the only country in the world that have put one of the most stringent peg on the dollar. The US dollar can't go more than almost 6 yen or yen, whatever it name. Okay? And China can afford to do that with over 1 billion people, with a thriving economy, with with a rapid build-out since 1945 of its provinces, turning them into new cities. And what that does, it creates new economies within economies. And when we have these conversations, we help our people to understand how this works. For example, look at something as simple as the PNP tell its followers, because only followers it can't tell me, that economy can't yam. Now, the pushback against that should have been stronger, especially by the economists who call themselves economists in our country. Because economy is what you use for nyam. What's the flip side of that kind of argument? When Michael Manley decimated what we had as an economy, you couldn't find nothing for nyam. There was nothing to nyam. What do I mean? Let me go into some specifics. We see skyscrapers. We see skyscrapers being built in Jamaica now. Isn't one skyscraper going to open a new economy? Of course. Let me paint you a picture. The building is now vertical, which means that you're going to need people with new expertise to either clean the building or paint the damn building. Isn't that a new economy that didn't exist before? So what you're going to find now is you're going to find people being apprentices, learning how to work. That wasn't an economy before. I remember this young lady that was on the longest bridge now in Jamaica that is being done on the Montego Bay bypass. And she went there as a regular casual worker. And she ended up learning welding, but not just any welding for make one gate. Compact welding. Because you have to weld bridges a particular way so that the steel don't fall apart or it don't break away. So it can carry the weight. Whatever weight it is that them research and them engineering say it is to be built. Isn't that a new economy? When that bridge is to be repaired, maybe by that time, because she's a young lady, by that time she will have a firm with trained people who are experts in doing that kind of work. And not any mason we build grave can work on them make jobs there.
Yeah, don't forget the point. Can I say something to support your point?
Yes, man. Yes, my brother.
Before a building even reach anywhere, remember the builders, them, they are gonna earn an income. They are gonna now be able to carry home that income, spend it to send them children to school, which is another economy that, send them children to school. The children gonna have to eat lunch. So the person who cooking the lunch and selling the stuff, who making uniform. So every activity trigger off a cycle of economic activities which trigger off another, and they call it multiplier effect of money. So keep the money circulating and moving from one person to another. And if you spend $1 today, spend $1 this hour, and with somebody else who spend it with somebody else, it becomes $3 and not $1, A lot of people don't know that, and the government now, for the activities that is taking place, even on the ground, if you go buy from the crab woman who have to buy from the fisherman who have to buy from so the money keep moving. Once the money keep moving, you're creating demand in the economy, and then you create demand, you create businesses from the demand, which employ more people, which create another cycle of activities, demand, and growth, and all that kind of thing.
Expansion of supplies, because it means that the factory, national build one new factory, because more people want bread, more people can afford bread. Even though the PNP say bread get dearer since
Exactly.
2011, but more people can afford bread, so they have to build a new factory.
All on the protecting. Caliber.
Important point a while ago again,
Get the professor. Caliber. Want to protect.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, good dear. They are still now. They are
Yeah, the point where you touched a while ago is although you will hear people that cry out and I say, boy, cost of living gone high and all that thing, but there's something that them not looking at. that
The
what
demand.
they are crying about is affordable.